but I think about him.
For Mary Easterly,
He was good looking, had pretty eyes.
a first impression is a lasting one, especially when the stranger walking into your life is a dashing Virginia gentleman.
Little did I know I was dancing with such a star.
Richard Fuller Patterson introduced himself to the 17-year-old at the Country Club of Virginia 75 years ago.
I remember what I was wearing.
It would be the start of a blossoming relationship.
He was tall and handsome, trim. He was a good dancer.
But Fuller's time in Richmond and with Mary would be fleeting.
I saw him the last night that he was in Richmond. I had a date with him.
His whole life is a history lesson.
Fuller was born into a life of privilege. His family, the founders of Lucky Strike Tobacco.
Incredibly gifted, incredibly talented.
Fuller graduates from St. Christopher's and Princeton with honors. He travels the world and learns to fly.
I guess I first became aware of him when I was a little girl.
Latney Crittenden Miller says her great-uncle excelled in all facets of life, whether in the classroom or track and field.
Everything he did, he fully committed.
Fuller would enter Harvard Law, but soon grows restless, especially with the winds of World War II blowing across the Atlantic. By 1940, Adolf Hitler was suffocating an immense stretch of Europe, the U.S. refusing to intervene.
He just was so disgusted by the whole Nazi movement that he felt like it was something he had to do. And so he did it.
Fuller does not wait to get into the fight. He makes a bold, life-altering decision.
Left his full scholarship at Harvard. He gave up his American citizenship.
Fuller joins the Royal Canadian Air Force and puts his piloting skills to the test.
Kind of a sense of pride that I had family members who would have given up everything for a cause that they believed in.
His high-flying talents so legendary, Fuller would be the first person to reach the rank of British Airman.
Camp Borden, Friday, July 26, 1940.
In letters home to his mother, the 26-year-old defends his decision to join.
You must not for one moment worry about us. We will come through.
An ace, Fuller would shoot down 18 enemy planes. He was seemingly unstoppable in the cockpit.
Our fighter pilots take off to destroy the enemy.
In late 1941, Fuller's dominance of the sky would abruptly end.
I think he knew that it was a cause that he felt was worth dying for.
During a raid over a small seaside town in Belgium, blazing German guns would bring down the decorated pilot 4,000 miles from home. Ironically, Fuller would crash on one of the most infamous days in U.S. history.
December 7th, 1941.
Fuller's plane would fall from the sky hours before the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, an act that would thrust America into war. But the decorated pilot's whereabouts would remain a mystery.
When he crashed, people didn't know he was an American.
In Richmond, news of Fuller's demise generates bold headlines.
Patterson missing, shot down, feared missing, feared dead.
Sympathy letters pour into the Patterson home.
Another Western Union telegram.
Days stretch into weeks, weeks melt into months, months give way to years. Fuller's remains never recovered.
It is emotional. I know it was so painful for all of them.
Fuller's mother, Mattie, would endure the unthinkable.
She lost both sons.
Her youngest son, James, an officer in the U.S. Army, was killed in the South Pacific just hours before the war's end.
To be the mother of one of the first and one of the last Americans to die in the war, I can't imagine.
But in 1946, the deep sorrow softens with the arrival of a letter. The author, a stranger in Belgium.
To the mother and the family of Patterson, R.F.
Henri Verhulst would answer the frustrating question the Pattersons grieved over. What became of Fuller? Henri witnessed Fuller's Spitfire crash that fateful day. The middle-aged man risked his life, retrieving Fuller's body and burying it in a churchyard. 5 years after the crash, Henri felt it was his duty to locate Fuller's family in America to shed light on their son's bravery.
Madame, in your affliction, please be proud of your son. He fell as a hero.
For Mrs. Patterson, Henri's gesture would begin a transatlantic friendship lasting nearly 30 years.
He's the hero in this story to me. Always has been.
Fuller's mother, Mattie, chose to leave her son's remains in Belgium under the care of Henri.
She never got to see Fuller's grave.
The Belgian would regularly send flowers from the cemetery.
And these are roses from Fuller's grave, and they are still red, all the way from 1949.
The flowers, lovingly preserved by Fuller's mom, along with each and every letter and photo received from overseas.
Now I know that he sleeps peacefully in a friendly country, and tender care is given to his grave by kind friends.
For Fuller's surviving sister, Martha, losing 2 brothers was too much to bear.
Mother would never talk about it. It hurt too much.
Henri Verhouse's actions 70-plus years ago answered so many agonizing questions and still fills Fuller's relatives with appreciation.
We know everything about what happened because of this man.
When he was overseas, he wrote me and asked me if I'd send him a picture and put it in the plane. So when they found the plane and found his body, I often wondered whether the picture was still in there.
For Mary Easterly, the young woman Fuller would court in the months before flying off to war, Patterson's death still leaves her pondering.
Very much a part of my life.
At what might have been if the man who made that lasting impression on the dance floor so long ago survived.
I've often wondered if he'd come back, whether I would have married him or not. He was very nice to me.